Welcome back. Quick little news of the day video for everybody. Not nearly as explosive as what was going on yesterday, but hey. So Mason Geertsen has been claimed on waivers from the Rangers by the New Jersey Devils. That, of course, happened yesterday. And I saw that and I thought, probably not. Just a video on that. So the waiver wire is always interesting to look at and see who didn't make the teams and who's on waivers. Some may be highly thought of at the time that they're drafted, or maybe at the time that a team adds them. In the case of the Oilers, Seth Griffith is on waivers. He'll clear. Cooper Marody is one of the more interesting ones on waivers. I would think he clears. He's on a two-way contract. He hasn't really had an opportunity to show a lot at the NHL level with the Oilers. But again, it's interesting, and again, he likely clears. I've got that right here. Likely clears. And of course, yesterday they revealed as well that Josh Archibald is out with myocarditis, which is the same thing Alex Stalock has. And so that could take him out for the year. And, you know, it's one of those things that the Oilers are going to have to deal with. I don't know that they're going to be able to replace Stalock easily at this point. Unless they think that maybe Skinner's ready to be that number 3. I think the number 3 goaltender is going to get used by most teams this year. You're going to see injuries here and there. And since Koskinen and Smith are both over 30, Smith's 40, the odds of one of them getting banged up at some point this year pretty high. So we'll see. And with Archibald, the good news for that from an Edmonton perspective is he's a bottom 6 forward, so they can replace him as need be, but hopefully he has a speedy recovery. Pittsburgh, Jake Gensel is on the COVID list. He tested positive. This is a team that was already dealing with Crosby and Malkin being on the shelf, of course. Crosby should be back by the second week of the season. But what it's done is it's meant that they had to kind of mess around. So their last game, Danton Heinen playing on the first line, along with Jeff Carter and Brian Rust. That kind of shows you right there. If that is the first line, and I understand it's preseason, not everybody's playing, but there's now suddenly a depth concern if you're Pittsburgh, depending on how long Gensel's out. And, Malkin's going to be out for months. It's going to be a long year for Pittsburgh. So here's to hoping that's the end of the bad news for Pittsburgh when it comes to guys being out of their lineup. Zach Senyshyn's on waivers for the Boston Bruins. And I mentioned this because he's likely going to clear in a couple hours anyways. The waiver wire thing being announced later in the day is strange to me. It used to always be at 9 in the morning. They all right, here's waivers and here's who got claimed. Now it's later on in the day. But yeah, so Senyshyn should clear. But remember, he was a first-round draft pick. And it just hasn't worked out. So I was really hoping that maybe he'd have a good camp. Maybe he'd break camp with the team, but he's headed down to the minors. Interesting, too, and having only watched the first 2 episodes of All or Nothing on the Toronto Maple Leafs, Ilya Mikheyev is with Tavares and Nylander at camp. I will say this. The first thing I learned over the initial episodes is that hockey players, when you watch the way that they are with coaches and general managers and stuff, it's a lot like kids with teachers and parents. You can just tell their eyes have glassed over and they're kind of listening, but it's probably just whatever. Can I just go? I get that impression anyways. So I've had that with employers during meetings too, where it's like, can I just go? Yeah, all right, fine. But Mikheyev at least is vocal about ice time and his place with the team. So I would think if he did stick with Tavares and Nylander, that would make him pretty happy. And when he's happy or when he's motivated, Mikheyev can be a good player. So we'll see how that turns out. Robin Lehner has backtracked a little bit. In that LM Vigneault was asked about the accusations. Now, I didn't get into this in the video yesterday because some of that gets kind of dicey, right? And this is likely what Leonard's been told. You can say stuff, but there can be ramifications. So he's come out and clarified that he's not accusing Vigneault of giving out pills to players, and he talks about him being a dinosaur and how he treats his players. Which, fine, that's fine. There are different coaching styles, and I understand that Vigneault's may be seen as passé. But that seems to be a bit of a different... It's a different take than what was being put out there by Leonard initially. So we'll see. right? We'll see what happens with this. I would think the NHL spoke to him. His agent may have spoken to him too, and said you need to clarify some of this, because to say, all right, here's a grenade, okay, but you've got to have like some kind of a plan with all this. There weren't any stories yesterday that I saw, so that's good news too. So yeah, my guess is the NHL did reach out to him. That's my guess, and yeah, we'll see what happens from there. Jake Evans has signed a 3-year extension with the Montreal Canadiens. Did that yesterday. Signed a 3-year extension that kicks in next summer. It's worth $1.7 million per season. Doesn't look like there's any bonuses with that or anything. So that's not too bad for Jake Evans. And there's the possibility that if he has a good year for Montreal this year, that will be seen as a bargain contract. So good move by Montreal. That's the Montreal jersey. And yeah, we'll see how this goes. So that's your news for today for August 4th so far. We'll see if there's more news to be had before the day is done. Of course, we have 8 games tonight, so there's a lot that could happen. I'm not reporting on the day-to-day injuries. I'm not reporting on the guys who maybe missed a practice here and there, because there's some overreaction that happens during the preseason, so I'm trying to avoid that. But yeah, so there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you're browsing your way through, you just tapping upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.